Hello everyone, and welcome to History of the Ancient World. Today, we're taking a journey back in time, not just through empires and battles, but by looking up at the very same sky that our ancestors did. We're exploring the fascinating world of astronomy in ancient civilizations. Long before telescopes and satellites, people across the globe were captivated by the stars. The night sky wasn't just a beautiful spectacle, it was a clock, a calendar, a map, and a divine storybook all rolled into one. For these early societies, the movements of the sun, moon, planets, and stars were deeply intertwined with their daily lives, their beliefs, and their very survival. From the fertile crescent of Mesopotamia to the lush river valleys of Egypt, China, and the Americas, the cosmos held the key to understanding the world and their place within it. Let's start our journey in Mesopotamia, often called the cradle of civilization. The Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians were meticulous observers of the heavens. Living in a land between two rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates, their lives revolved around agriculture. Knowing when to plant and when to harvest was a matter of life and death. They quickly realized that the seasons were linked to the position of the sun and the appearance of certain stars. The Babylonians in particular took astronomy to a whole new level. They were the first to apply mathematics to their observations, turning sky watching into a predictive science. They created detailed star catalogs and could predict lunar and solar eclipses with surprising accuracy. Why were they so obsessed with predictions? For the Babylonians, the sky was a place where the gods communicated their will. An unexpected eclipse or the appearance of a comet could be seen as a divine omen, foretelling famine, war, or the death of a king. Their priests, who were also their astronomers, would watch the skies for these signs, interpreting them for the rulers. It's from the Babylonians that we inherited many fundamental concepts we still use today. They divided the circle into 360 degrees. They divided the year into 12 months, the day into 24 hours, and the hour into 60 minutes. They also mapped out the zodiac, that band of constellations the sun, moon, and planets appear to travel through. So next time you check your horoscope, you can thank the ancient Babylonians for laying the groundwork over 3,000 years ago. Now let's travel west to the land of the pharaohs, ancient Egypt. Just like in Mesopotamia, the Egyptian civilization was a gift of the river, the Nile. The annual flooding of the Nile was the most important event of the year, depositing fertile silt that made agriculture possible. Predicting this flood was crucial. The Egyptians noticed that the flood always arrived shortly after the star Sirius, which they called Sopdet, reappeared in the morning sky after being hidden for about 70 days. This event, known as the heliacal rising of Sirius, marked the beginning of their new year and the flood season. This observation led them to create one of the earliest and most accurate solar calendars. The calendar had 365 days, divided into 12 months of 30 days each, with an extra 5 days at the end of the year dedicated to festivals for the gods. This is remarkably close to the actual length of a solar year, and it was a massive improvement over purely lunar calendars, which would drift out of sync with the seasons. But Egyptian astronomy wasn't just practical, it was profoundly spiritual. The pyramids, those magnificent tombs for the pharaohs, are testaments to their celestial beliefs. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, is aligned with incredible precision to the cardinal points: north, south, east, and west. Some shafts inside the pyramid point directly towards specific stars, such as those in the Orion constellation. The Egyptians identified Orion with the god Osiris, the judge of the dead and ruler of the underworld. These shafts were seen as pathways for the pharaoh's soul to ascend to the heavens and join the circumpolar stars, the imperishable ones that never set below the horizon. For the Egyptians, the cosmos was their eternal destiny. Moving across the globe to ancient Greece, we find a different approach to the stars. While the Babylonians and Egyptians focused on observation and prediction for practical and religious reasons, the Greeks were driven by a desire to understand the underlying structure of the universe. They were the philosophers of the cosmos. Thinkers like Thales, Pythagoras and Plato sought rational explanations for celestial phenomena. They moved away from myths about gods hurling lightning bolts and instead proposed that natural laws governed the universe. The Greeks were the first to truly embrace the idea of a spherical Earth. Around 500 BC, Pythagoras argued that the sphere was the most perfect shape, so the Earth, Moon, and other celestial bodies must be spherical. Later, Aristotle provided observational evidence for this, noting the Earth's curved shadow on the Moon during a lunar eclipse. One of the most brilliant moments in ancient science came from Eratosthenes, a Greek mathematician living in Egypt. Around 240 BC, he calculated the circumference of the Earth with astonishing accuracy using just shadows, a well, and some basic geometry. It was a monumental achievement of human intellect. The Greek model of the universe was geocentric, meaning it placed the Earth at the center. Claudius Ptolemy in the 2nd century AD perfected this model in his book, The Almagest. He devised a complex system of circles and epicycles to explain the strange retrograde motion of planets like Mars, where they appear to temporarily reverse course in the sky. Ptolemy's geocentric model was so successful at predicting planetary positions that it dominated Western thought for over 1400 years, until Copernicus proposed a sun-centered model during the Renaissance. Now let's journey to the Far East, to ancient China. Like other civilizations, Chinese astronomy was born from the needs of an agricultural society. They needed a reliable calendar, and they developed a very sophisticated one that combined both solar and lunar cycles. But for the Chinese, astronomy was also deeply political. The emperor was seen as the son of heaven, and his mandate to rule was thought to be connected to cosmic harmony. Chinese astronomers were government officials, part of an imperial astronomical bureau. Their job was to observe the skies for guest stars, what we now call novae and supernovae, as well as comets and sunspots. These were considered important omens. An unexpected celestial event could be interpreted as a sign of heavenly displeasure with the emperor's rule, potentially justifying a rebellion. Because of this, the Chinese kept meticulous and continuous astronomical records for centuries, records that are invaluable to modern astronomers today. For instance, the detailed observations of the supernova in 1054 AD allowed modern scientists to identify its remnant, the Crab Nebula. Finally, let's cross the Pacific to the ancient Americas. The civilizations here, like the Maya and the Inca, developed their own rich astronomical traditions completely independently. The Maya, in particular, were brilliant astronomers. Living in the jungles of Central America, they built impressive observatories, like the Caracol at Chichen Itza, to track the movements of the sun, moon, and especially the planet Venus. For the Maya, Venus was the most important celestial object after the sun and moon. They associated it with their god Kukulkan, and they tracked its cycle with incredible precision. They knew that its synodic period, the time it takes to reappear in the same spot in the sky, is about 584 days. Their codices, or bark paper books, contain complex tables for predicting the positions of Venus. These predictions were tied to their ritual calendar and were used to determine auspicious dates for coronations, battles, and sacrifices. The Maya calendar system itself, with its interlocking cycles, is a marvel of mathematical and astronomical ingenuity. From the practical calendars of Babylon and Egypt to the philosophical models of Greece and the political omens of China, ancient astronomy was a diverse and vital part of human civilization. It reveals a universal human impulse to look up at the vast, mysterious sky and try to make sense of it all. These ancient observers laid the foundations upon which all of modern astronomy is built. Their curiosity, their meticulousness, and their sense of wonder are a legacy that continues to inspire us to explore the cosmos today. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the celestial history of the ancient world. If you enjoyed this exploration, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to History of the Ancient World for more deep dives into our shared past. We'll see you in the next one.